When you open OBS,
Oh, I just clicked start streaming. I think it's working. Yeah,
oh,
it's
okay. Let me
going.
see. Yay! Let me see. I'm gonna.
Yeah. The only thing is, my I think because my camera's on in Discord right now, that it's not on in OBS.
It could be on multiple, right?
I don't think so. I think because it's like OBS. I think if Discord's using it, like I don't think OBS can use it at the same time because it's not showing it.
Hold on. Let me look at your stream. Hope you're live.
I wonder. All right, I'm
Oh,
gonna
you're
turn my.
live. You're live. You're live.
Yeah, yeah, I am. I'm gonna turn my camera off and see what happens if it pops into OBS. Oh, it probably won't. I would probably have to close it out and open it back up again.
No, go to OBS. Open your.
Okay, there it goes. I just popped it up. Okay, cool. Now my camera's on. Okay, so now, cool. I have OBS here. Why is it showing? Is my OBS showing? Yeah, that was crazy. I wasn't supposed to be showing that. All right, cool. Cool, cool, cool. All right. So what I'm seeing, we're looking at SPY right now. I'm gonna go to like the 1 hour here. So this big green box is a gap from that day we had. I don't know. Trump basically said we had a ceasefire, so we gapped up crazy, like $10. Yeah, we closed at like 659. Opened up the next day at like 675, $15 really. Anyways, if you go to the daily chart, you can see we clearly have this huge gap here. So I'm willing to bet that this gap gets filled because it's just so big. I don't see how it doesn't. And I don't know, with like Trump being president, I just feel like ceasefire, war, all this like willy nilly, the market's just been doing exactly that, willy nilly. So you can see we just gapped down overnight, and by no surprise, right at a level and the top of the gap. So I'm probably obviously I have to wait until tomorrow to see like where price is at. My assumption is we'll probably consolidate here above this gap, and then tomorrow we'll open up, and I would like to see it fill it. So it might be like boop boop, and we'll probably open up somewhere here, and then poof, retest, poof, and maybe like the next day we get like continuation. That would be like in a perfect world, right? And then we fill this gap, and then the gap's filled. Or it could get filled in one day, and we can get like nasty. But don't know. But that's what I pretty much will be looking for going into tomorrow. We had a clear downtrend on SPY. So looking at like the 4 hour, we had this clear downtrend and a perfect break and retest that I probably got a piece of, but I can't hold for the life of myself. So, um, yeah. But this is like a pretty, I don't know, and it kind of looks like an inverse head and shoulder. It's like head, shoulder, shoulder, explosion. Um, but yeah, you got these highs here, so not surprised that we got a little bit of rejection there. Yeah, and then there's this high here that we're probably retesting. That looks like that. So we could hold this level, could hold the top of the gap, and just get continuation back up to these all-time highs. Or like I said, we see this gap get filled pretty soon. That's pretty much it. I'll look at silver just because like I be liking how silver looks. And honestly, it's looking pretty clean right now. I would say nice little trend here. So we'll see how that works out tomorrow. But yeah, really was just starting this live to. Can you see me? Am I on the? Is my camera on? Can you see me on the stream? Or no? You can? Okay, cool. Okay, cool. This, how do I like, I need to make this smaller, pop out chat. Restore chat. Make this big again. Okay, cool. So that works. So yeah, tomorrow I'll go ahead and probably like right before open, I'm Central Time, which is like, so market opens at 8:30 for me. So like probably 8:25, I'll hop on and start the live, and we'll wait for that first 5-minute candle. We'll wait for a break of the high or the low, and then a retest of one of those levels for a continuation trade, 2-1. That's all we're looking for. And so like, if you want an example of like what I mean, so like, I also like to use the opening range. So that's kind of like combining more than one strategy. But by the time the opening range is set, I'm pretty much gonna call it a day for me. I do work from home, so I do look at the charts like throughout the day. Yikes. But like, so here, this was Friday. This was the first 5-minute bar, this white box. We broke below it, and then we had like a little bit of like choppiness, but it did retest it. It did close below it, and I look for my entries on the 1 minute. So if we go down to the 1 minute for this day, we'll see here. Boom, right here. We broke below it. We broke back inside of it, broke below it, closed below it here with another retest, and then this would have been like a cool entry. Oh, I meant to hit short position. But right here, at the close of this candle here, would have been like a pretty decent entry. Stop above these highs. Look for the 2-1 right there. Boom. TP would have got hit in like what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles, 5 minutes, 5-minute trade right there. And honestly, it really gave it again 2 times. Could have taken it. This particular day though, I actually remember I went long somewhere. I think I went long. Actually, we can see. Let's go. Pretty sure it's this tab. So gonna be completely transparent here. Oh, actually, yeah, I think my camera's covering my like account info, so should be okay. Let's see. So the trade, yeah, I took a lot of trades. Did I? Let's customize it. That was for a month. Let's do just Friday. So I took 3 trades Friday, and I made, I think I lost, yeah, $5. Lost $5. Break even, I call it. But let's go look at the trades. So the first one I took 2 contracts. Yeah, I got in long on ES. Let me see, what time frames are these on? Okay, let's go to the 1 minute so you can really see. So yeah, I got in long here on this candle. My thought process was, okay, we just opened up here. We sold off. We had 2 big bull bars on like, you know, higher than average volume, I would say, or like basically average volume. So my thought process was we were gonna continue here. I entered at the close of this candle on this one with the stop basically below these lows, and I wanted to see it come back up to these highs. Clearly it chopped sideways and I got chopped in my forehead. Stopped out as we broke it, and of course I got stopped out and then watched it do all this BS, and I'm like, bruh, why? So then I waited for a little bit, and I end up getting it back in like over here for this push. So still the same idea, same trade, but the first one was just, I was just early, and if you're early, you're wrong. So here was when I entered the second one. I entered at the close of this candle after it got bought back up. Okay, yeah. So I entered 2 contracts again on this one, and then I trimmed one, and I think I trimmed the second one further up. Yeah. So the real, I mean, I think when I drew this out, this was gonna be another 2-to-1. I had entered here. The stop was below these lows, like a triple bottom right here, and then TP was this high again, which clearly you can see we got. But sometimes this price action just like makes you very impatient, especially when you're watching it on the 1 minute. So you just gotta go to the 5. But even on the 5, it doesn't look very pretty. It's just like sideways, 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 and then boom, one big candle, and then a bunch of, I don't know. It's hard to trade sometimes. But that was that. So if we go to like the previous day, like let's say we go to Thursday. I think Thursday gave a pretty good setup. Let's look at the chart for it. On the 5. Yeah, so like Thursday, beautiful price action. My goodness, like I love this. And I think I actually bought this bottom. I did. And of course I did not hold for this. I did not think this was going to happen. But does this even go back this far? Yeah. So once again, this was the first 5-minute bar. Well, after this like 5th candle, and that's just disgusting. Like, how are you trading this barcode? Scan it up. Anyways, I didn't obviously take any trades here. I think I waited this entire time. And then I finally got long somewhere down here off of these lows. And I rode it back up to the high here. But, man, I didn't think that was going to happen. This really wasn't really a good break and retest day for the 5-minute orb, at least, because we, like, broke above it, didn't hold above it, kind of just played around with it. Yeah, so that's why I say sometimes I like to use the opening range, too, and not just the 5-minute opening range. But so when I say opening range, I mean after the first hour and a half. So that's 10 o'clock for me. So after the first hour and a half, there's like a statistic. I could probably pull it up here. That says that the high or the low of the day is pretty much set. Let's see, statistic about high or low of day in what am I thinking? Statistic for opening range in trading. Okay, this is like 5-minute opening range. What's the stat? What stat tells you the percentage of the high or low being set in the first hour and a half trading? The statistic you're likely looking for is related to the initial balance, which typically defines the high and low set during the first hour. Initial balance, often defined as high and low of the first hour. Studies show that once this range is established, a breakout on only one side occurs approximately 70 to 80% of the time, often called a single break. High and low. Okay, here we go. This is what I'm looking for. Historical data indicates that the high of day or the low of day can be set very early. For example, the high of day has been observed in the first 30 minutes of a session, roughly 24.6 of the time. Okay, well, I'm talking about the first hour and a half. So I guess I should just look that up. What is chance that the high or low of the day is set? I don't even know who I'm trying to prove this to, but I'm just like trying to get you to understand this is what I mean by opening range. So after the first hour and a half, that's like the day, the opening range of the day is what I will call it. There's like 5-minute orb, 15-minute orb, but this is just like regular opening range. So it says here, typically the first hour and a half shows it captures the high or low of the day, 70 to 80% of sessions. So when you think about that, it's like, okay, after the first hour, or for me, I think it's hour and a half, but after the first hour, there's a 70 to 80% chance that the high or low of the day has been put in. So it could be either or it could be both. So like on a day like this, clearly in the first hour or hour and a half of the day, clearly the high wasn't put in, but the low very well was. So market opens here at 8:30. The low of the day was put in at 9:34, technically. So at 9:34, we made the low of the day, and we never ever looked back. Like it never ever came back down to this level. So just knowing a stat like that, like okay, once we hit 10 o'clock right here, this is 10 a.m. right here. There's a 70 to 80% chance that this is the high of the day and this is the low of the day. So we break the high of the day here, and so I draw the high or low after 10 a.m. So up to 10 a.m., the highest point of the day was here, and the lowest point of the day was here, hence the opening range. We got so even though we didn't respect the 5-minute opening range, we got a very, very clear break and retest of just the overall opening range. And so that's why I'm not like boxing myself in and like closing myself off to just the 5-minute orb, because the opening range is like a strategy I've known since I've started trading, and it still works. So I didn't take this trade because actually I took a long down here, and I ate this move up, and I made my bread, and I think I had lost because I went long earlier here and I got stopped out. So I had made my bread back and I was green on the day. And after that, I was like, I'm gonna go for a run. And I told my boy that before I leave on the run, I'm like, this looks like a good long setup. I go for a run, I come back, and we're like all the way up here. And I'm like, bro, if I would have seen this is like one of those like I was just talking to her about how she had like going over her trade reviews, and there's textbook trades, there's forced trades, and there's acceptable trades. This is like a clean textbook trade, I would say. So, and this is all you need. Like literally, this is way more than a 2-to-1. If you would have entered, I would have entered. I was telling her about this, so now that she's watching this, she can actually see. But so yeah. After we got this break, we consolidated above on pretty low volume, and then we get like these three these candles touch. I've been taking a more aggressive approach where I've been entering at the touch and just trusting that like we're gonna respect this level. So you could have entered at the touch and just had a tight stop like below for if we close back below this, or you could just had it if we close back below this high right here. And I mean, shoot, even if you were just trying to get back up to this high, that's like way more than a 2-to-1. But this is like just out of pocket. This is like, brah. So probably I don't know what would have happened if I would have seen this, but I would have liked to think that I would have taken that setup for sure. And then you can go back to the day before that and see. So here we had a day where we stayed inside of the range. So if we're thinking about this, right, 8:30, 10 a.m. is right here. This is 10 a.m. right here. So at this point, there's a 70 to 80% chance that this is going to be the low of the day and this is going to be the high of the day. And by no surprise, that was the case. We were inside this range the entire day. We didn't make it back to this low, and we didn't make it back to this high. So, but what we did do, and so this is why we have the 5-minute orb too, because we can just use that for context. I'm not trading during this hours. After 10 o'clock, I'm pretty much done. So I'm really just looking for this window here. And yeah, this would have been a solid 5-minute retest, even though it didn't quite make it to the 5-minute. You could have seen that like we broke below it. You have like a little 1-minute FVG here that we clearly like crawled into. If I draw this out, little 1-minute FVG, came to the midpoint, never closed above it. Easy short off of any of these rejections. Probably easier said than done in hindsight though, right? And then I just like to watch, like, even though I'm not trading after 10 a.m. or not trying to at least, I just like to watch to see how price moves, how it respects certain things, what are the market conditions, how are they changing. So like, you know, I always like to use trend lines. We had a nice little intraday trend line here. We broke it, we kind of hung out right above it, retested it, and then boom. So this is like a trend break and retest, which there's another statistic that like 80% of breakouts fail or something like that. So when you know that, and you see price approaching a trend line, and you know that 80% of breakouts fail, you can take a gamble and kind of short a touch to see if your probability is high. But yeah, any of these retests into the 5 minute would have been decent. They're not very, very clean. Like this one's not super clean. And this is probably a 2-1, but not the big juicy trade you're probably looking for like this. So oftentimes in these current market conditions, I'm noticing that we're retesting the midpoint a lot. So you got one here, got one here. This one kind of faked people out. I would have been sick if I would have caught this knife. That's so tragic. So yeah, and then I'll just go back one more day, and then I'm probably gonna call it. So I didn't draw the opening range on this day, but let's see where it is. So what I did draw was the 5 minute orb. So 10 a.m., 10 a.m., 10 a.m. right here. So technically this would have been the low, and this would have been the high. And so if we go all the way across here, now, even though, so yeah, 80% that the lower high of the day is put in, this one clearly, it's not always going to be right. It's not always going to be 100%. So, but you can just use that with context, right? Like we know that this is the opening range low, this is the opening range high. So we broke below it. Some people are probably looking for the retest and the short for continuation here. Probably got faked out. But when you get a break back inside, but that's why like using it in tandem with like knowing that 80% of breakouts fail or whatever it is. Let's look up what the actual stat is. Let me see. What percentage of breakouts fail? Data often cites that 70 to 90% of blind breakouts fail. I don't know what a blind breakout generally means, but 70 to 90%. So like I was saying, basically 80% of the time breakouts fail. So this would have been a failed breakout. We tried to break below it. They brought it back up, and then we kept it pushing. This was another failed breakout. We broke above the opening range high, closed back inside of it. Easy shorts. That's really it. And then just like you have the midpoint with the 5 minute orb, you got the midpoint with the opening range, which tends to get respected a lot. Also with, you got support and resistance lines that I have here, John. So that's what I will be looking for tomorrow. 5 minute opening range, and that is it. You can see here I have this gap drawn. We gap down for whatever reason. I don't know, is there news here? Why are stock market futures tumbling on April 12th? Let's open it up. U.S. stocks fall after Trump announces Strait of Hormuz blockade. Oil prices jump as failed U.S.-Iran talks raise conflict fears. U.S. stock, okay, yada, yada, yada. Okay. Oil is an interesting play during this time. I used to like trading it, but it seems like it's a heavily manipulated market, so I don't really trade it anymore. But with the whole like Iran and the transport and gas prices going up, like it makes total sense that like gas stocks have gone up. So like XLE is like the energy index for the S&P 500. It's the energy sector. And if you look at it on the daily chart, ever since this war stuff's been going on since the beginning of the year, XLE has just been on a rocket. XOM on a rocket. CVX, BP, all the gas oil companies. What's crude oil? CL? Blau. So, yeah. It's no surprise to me that we gap down on whatever this news is, and it's sitting right above the gap. So that's why I'm really, really interested in how we react here tomorrow, because I love gap fill plays. And and I love statistics. I took AP statistics in high school, but I love statistics. And so using the stat that like 80% of breakouts fail, 80% chance high or low of the day is put in by the first hour or hour and a half. And also that there's a statistic that like a certain percentage of gaps get filled in the same day. So I just have a strong belief that if we break into this gap and we close below this weekly level at 669, because I think 670 is just going to be a big level too, because that's, but anyways, whole numbers. If we break below that, is a pretty solid chance that this whole gap gets filled. And I think we need it. I don't think the market's done with all this selling pressure. I think we are ready to start running back up. I mean, this looks like a clear reversal. Came down hard on the daily, and now we're getting like a V-shaped recovery. So, but I still think this gap gets filled before we get back up to all-time highs. That's just me. But gonna call it, gonna end it. See y'all tomorrow, 8:25 Central Time. And let's stick to our rules and be smart. Started this account last week. It's at 2K. These were my trades last week. Made $83. Then I lost like basically that the next day. Then I made it all back the following day. So kind of teetering. I had it up at like 23.50. Oh, you can't see it. Can you see the number? You can't see it. Here's the layout I would use. I think you can see it if I have it here. Yeah, that's where we're at. So I started with 2K. I got it up to like 23.60 or something like that. I took a loss and I was at like 23, or I think I was like right under 23. I was at like 22.90 something or whatever. And then I pulled out like 200 just to like start getting in the habit of like paying myself from this. And then I made like a small little trade on Friday, and now we're just still sitting above 2K. So just gonna try to scale this account, but also continue to pay myself as I scale it, so that when I do take losses, it's like, okay, well I took a loss, but at least like I've been paying myself, so it's like not as groundbreaking, I guess. But yeah, thanks for coming to the TED Talk. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Have a good night.